Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today in Transformation Tuesday. Welcome here. Today is a day of honoring and reflecting. Today is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada, my home country, observed annually on September 30th since 2021, only the last 4 years. It's a federal holiday in Canada that honors the Indigenous children, the survivors of these institutions and their families who were sent to the residential schools. They were called the Indian Residential Schools in Canada. And it is a system that will forever be one of my country's most shameful legacies. These church-run government-funded institutions took more than 150,000 Indigenous children against their will and their families' will and subjected them to abuse and neglect, dangerous living conditions, all in the name of assimilation into white European culture and religion, the epitome of colonization. And many of those children never returned home. And the last Indian residential school closed in 1996. That's less than 30 years ago. Yeah. So today is a day of reflecting, of honoring, and learning everything possible about the real history and the ongoing impacts of the Indian residential school system, the traumatic experiences, the survivors, and the intergenerational trauma that continues to impact and affect Indigenous communities to this day. Yes, it's a big day to take time of your own and continue to learn and possibly be someone who contributes to bridging that gap. And today I'm wearing an orange shirt, showing you my shirt. Every child matters. And it's a symbol of solidarity, standing for the ongoing need for reconciliation and my support for the survivors of this forced assimilation of the Indian residential school. So why orange? I'll tell you a little story that I have learned about the orange shirt. The orange shirt wearing today on September 30th started in 2013 when a woman named Phyllis Webstad, who is Shuswap, she is from the First Nation Canoe Creek Indian Band, and she started sharing her own story of her experience in residential school to bring awareness. Yeah, publicly. Speaking publicly to bring awareness to her experience. And her experience was, in relation to the Orange Shirt Day, which is also today, that on her first day of school, in the Indian residential school that she was sent to in Williams Lake, she was 6 years old when she was taken from her family, and her grandmother gave her an orange shirt to keep her connected to her family while she was in the school. And it was taken from her on her first day. So the orange shirt has been empowered, and it serves as a powerful visual that every child matters. And so that's why I and many other people in Canada are wearing their orange shirt today. Maybe in the US too. I can't speak to that. I can only speak to Canada. So today is a small part of a larger continuous journey of unlearning lies, learning truths, and committing to building stronger relationships between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. And I want to bring in that there is 94 calls to action in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission document, covering aspects like child welfare and education and language and culture and health and many more. And in the most recent research that I've been able to find, only 15 of those 94 calls to action have been completed in 4 years. 15 out of 94. So what can each of us do to be a part of the reconciliation? Well, here's what I can suggest, and I am always open to hearing your suggestions too. Mine are to seek out Indigenous voices, authors, speakers, musicians. Visit cultural sites to deepen your own understanding of Indigenous culture and true, real history. Attend public events, presentations, workshops, powwows. I went to a powwow here in Albuquerque on Saturday. Public events that you are welcome to attend. And above all, listen. Don't talk. Listen. Listen to the stories that the Indigenous people are telling us, the elders, the survivors of these schools. Listen. Listen with an open mind and an open heart, and educate ourselves with a beginner's mind. Listen. That's the mantra for today. So thank you so much for joining me today on September 30th, National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada. I'll see you soon. I send you all my love.